All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Football Today, presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. It is Tuesday morning, September 3rd, and fellas, I have 1, 2, 3 drafts today. 2 of them at the same time, and I'm pumped up. How you guys doing? Any drafts today? Oh, I know we're all in the FFT league. Any other drafts today?
I have up my keeper league draft, and then after that in the FFT draft, all the hay is in the barn. I'm done.
Okay, so 3 for Jamie as well.
3 today, and the Super Leftover League, which I'll pick the people today.
That's on Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, I'm ready to be done with. I'm ready for it to start here. But
yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a slow draft going on too.
Oh, okay. Well, it's the funny thing is it is still draft season. These are always kind of awkward shows. Tomorrow we'll get into week 1 a little bit. We'll preview Thursday and Friday night, and then Thursday show will be the rest of the AFC home games. Friday show will be the rest of the NFC home games. But I never know what to talk about on these shows. Do I keep doing draft prep? Do I look ahead to week 1? People are still drafting. Tonight is actually a very busy draft, and I am pumped. I'm doing a live auction at a restaurant with some friends, so I'm really excited. I'm just in a good mood. Today's the first day of school for my kid. I just put him on the bus. Like good stuff today. Yeah.
Crying? Did he cry?
No, he's super. He's in first grade now. He's super happy and big smile on his face.
You cried though.
No, we were good. All right, I had a few random thoughts that I want to throw by. You ready? The top 5 teams in yards per carry allowed last year to running backs. The best were Houston, New England, Detroit, Chicago, and Minnesota. Notice 3 of them are in the NFC North, and they're not Green Bay. Is this bad news for Josh Jacobs? Should we be talking about this a little bit here? He has 8 matchups, Josh Jacobs, against teams that were top 10 against running backs, including the best run defense in football last year, Houston. And then obviously those division games. You don't know that it's going to translate year over year, but it's not a great schedule for Josh Jacobs.
I mean, it's not ideal, but I still think you look at the situation, the player, the opportunity he has. And so, I mean, by the time he gets to some of those games, those defenses may be shredded by injuries. So you look at the first couple of games, if that's going to scare you off, then that's fine. But after that, I don't really worry about it.
That wasn't something that I really considered to be a major strike against him. I think he's an upgrade for Green Bay's rushing attack. I think he will help in the passing game. I think of him as a younger version of Aaron Jones. It's as simple as that. So they're going to use him the same way they used Aaron Jones when Jones was healthy. Jones had some pretty big games in division. I've got no problem with Josh Jacobs.
Okay. Are we selling Zay Flowers short? This came to me because I finished up my Ravens Chiefs research, and I just went back and I watched Zay Flowers catches from the AFC Championship game just to see if L'Jarius Sneed was shadowing him. He obviously was not. Sneed was lined up on him on one play, and that was the catch that Flowers nearly scored a huge touchdown on, and then Sneed comes over and knocks the ball out of his hands right before the goal line. But, I mean, this guy is so talented, and I just had this thought, are we selling him short? He's electric. We're almost judging him based on what happened with Mark Andrews on the field, based on his rookie season. But we should be projecting more for that. This guy is wide receiver 30 or 28 in CBS ADP. He's a round 6 pick. Dave, are we selling Zay Flowers short?
I don't think so. Talent-wise, and I've said this every time that I've talked about him as a possible bust, is that he's got amazing talent. He's just in a tough situation because he's with a Ravens offense that is going to run the ball a lot. They got Derrick Henry. And as much as his rookie year was his rookie year, when Mark Andrews was there, the numbers were not. And just look at the last 5 games, 6 games, whatever it was from last season. Without Andrews, Zay was the guy. Got a lot of targets, got a lot of catches. He was awesome. I also look back on the history of wide receivers with Lamar Jackson. Only once as a receiver had north of, I think it's 14 PPR points per game. And he might get close to that. It wouldn't surprise me if he did because he is very talented. But I think the ADP is right on him.
Okay. Round 6. Jamie, I got one for you. Random thought. By the way, we have our season awards coming up. We're going to pick MVP, Rookie of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year. My MVP pick, a little bit relevant to one of these random thoughts, but not this one. What if Rachaad White scores double-digit rushing touchdowns? Rachaad White per game last year was RB 15 in non-PPR, 13 in half PPR, RB 10 in full PPR per game. That was Rachaad White with only 6 rushing touchdowns, but he had every single running back rushing touchdown for the Bucs. As a team, they scored only 8 rushing touchdowns, one by, I think, Chris Godwin, one by Baker Mayfield, 6 by Rachaad White. What if he has double-digit rushing touchdowns, Jamie, Rachaad White?
Then he'll be a top 10 running back, assuming he's healthy.
Could he be a top 5 running back with that?
He could be top 5. Yeah, I mean, the concern would be is, does Bucky Irving take some of the passing downs work? Because that's what's made Rachaad White so impressive. 110 catches in 2 seasons. He's been very efficient in the passing game. And Baker Mayfield, I know that was something that we discussed, going into the start of his tenure with Tampa Bay. Like, it was sort of an overlooked value of his that he throws to his running backs as much as he does. And that's sort of carried over to this offense as well. So as long as he's not losing the pass downs work, like, you don't want that trade-off, the potential of double-digit touchdowns versus what he does in the passing game. So if he does that and everything stays the same, then yes, top 5 potential. But I think, you give him 4 or 5 more touchdowns, then sure, he's going to push for the top 5.
24% of his PPR points last year were off of receptions. So I'm hoping that stays close to the same. I saw enough of Graham Barton this preseason and knew enough about him. That's their new center, to believe that he'll make a difference for Rachaad White. And every time I thought about moving Rachaad White down in my rankings this August, I thought about Graham Barton and I resisted. And I hope it pays off, because I do have White in a couple of leagues.
It's going to be what you've talked about a lot, Adam, that he's just been such an inefficient runner. And is that because of the offensive line? Is it because of him? So 2 years in a row of 3.7 yards per carry or less. Can he overcome that? Or does Bucky Irving come in and do a better job in that, and then he loses the running downs work? Now, he'll probably still be the goal line guy because he's bigger than Bucky, and maybe still stays the passing downs guy. But if Irving, who did look good in the preseason, again, against backups, but if he steals too much work in whatever capacity, that's bad for White.
Bucky is an amazing gas station, by the way. Just to put it out there, total yards for Rachaad White last year, 1,539. Total touchdowns, 9. So if he can get back to that, and I mean, we'd be awesome. Yeah. I'm not too worried about Bucky Irving taking a lot of work away.
And also, as I've been saying, Rachaad White had a super tough schedule last year. I don't think it could be any tougher, really.
How many games against teams top 5 in yards per carry allowed?
I don't know that he has any against those 5 teams.
Ooh. He's got to have one.
Detroit? Yeah, he has Detroit. But he doesn't have the other NFC North. He doesn't have Houston. What was the other one? New England?
Yeah.
He has one against New England. 5. He's got Baltimore on there. He's got San Francisco. Philadelphia could have a tough run defense. Detroit is weak too, but it can't be as hard as it was last year. Unfortunately, he wasn't so good against even in terms of yards per carry, even the worst matchups. He only had 3 carries longer than 16 yards all season. But, I've been asking the question, what's the difference between Alvin Kamara and Rachaad White? And it's always, it's age. They have pretty similar profiles. I think touchdown potential, got to say, big advantage, just potential. Big advantage for Rachaad White, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Apple Podcasts. I don't know. It's going to be hard for me to read your Apple Podcast questions on our mailbag this week because we got like 200 comments for Jamie's Super Leftovers League, but I'll do my best. If you get them in like now, I might see them by Friday. So no more Super Leftovers League submissions, but if you just ask a week 1 question, I'll try to read them on the Friday mailbag show.
We got 200 of them?
We got something crazy. We got like, probably not, but probably close to 100. We got a lot. You can also leave comments on Spotify. So if you want your question to be read on the mailbag this week, I can't guarantee it, but Apple Podcasts is a good way. Leave a 5-star review with a question. Spotify is another way. You just look below the play button on your Spotify app if you're in full screen mode and tell us what you think about the show or leave a question for us. But comment on this episode, the Tuesday episode. This is the one that's going to get you on the show.
Here's what you do. Here's what you do.
I don't like this.
No, this is going to be good. Guess what shirt Dan will wear.
No.
Before putting your question. in.
It's, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be a shirt that says something about slot machines, and slots going to be in big letters. And we know where the microphone will be.
I can't tell. I watched that like 50 times already.
It was really funny. All right.
How
Anyway,
you kept it together, I have no idea.
comment on this episode on Spotify. Look below the play button on your Spotify app in full screen mode. Tell us what you think about the show, or leave us a question, and that will help you get on the mailbag. You can also email us at fantasyfootball@cbsi.com. Today's the last day that I think that you might be asked to do some voting for podcast awards. So if you get that, in your inbox, please vote for fantasy football today. All right, we got it for one last time here. Talk about our biggest preseason risers. I'm going to ask you, Dave, throughout the draft process, who was your biggest preseason riser?
I don't think it can be anybody else other than Rashee Rice. And it has to do more so with the suspension not coming for him. We know that he started the offseason with a really ugly off-field incident. That sank him in my rankings. And it's just been a steady movement up and then up and then up. And now here he is, a top 48 player, and I might be too low on Rashee Rice. Marquise Brown's banged up to start the season. We know that he's got great rapport with Patrick Mahomes. I think he keeps it going. I think he still sees a ton of targets. He's moved up the most for me of anybody this preseason.
Jamie, who is your biggest preseason riser?
I'll give you two. One a week ago and one this past few days. A week ago was Juwan Johnson. Obviously starting on the PUP list with the foot injury. He's a borderline top 12 tight end for me. I just look at the situation, how he finished last year, what the target opportunity is for him in this offense, how the new offense will benefit him under Clint Kubiak. And so when you get to the Dallas Goedert, David Njoku, Freiermuth group, he's right after that for me. So I would take him over the Jonnu Smith, Cole Kmet. Trying to think what other crap tight ends are out there. But yeah, he's in the top 15. And I think he's going to, as long as he stays healthy, I think he's going to be probably second on the team targets in the conversation to be second on the team targets, and could be somebody that we're picking up after week one if he does not get drafted, which right now he's not getting drafted very much. And then the recent guy is Samaje Perine, top 50 running back now. Just look at the situation right now with Clyde Edwards-Helaire going to miss the first couple games. Who knows when he'll come back? Who knows what his role will be when he comes back? Andy Reid seems to love Samaje Perine and the opportunity he's going to get to be the new Jerick McKinnon.
A quick word on Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, but just real quick,
one against Carolina.
Samaje Perine, actually, Clyde's out 4 games, right? It's on the NFI list, so he's out at least 4 games. Okay, so Rashee Rice for Dave, Juwan Johnson, Samaje Perine for Jamie. Go ahead. Quick word on Juwan Johnson.
I just said it. He's got Carolina in week 1, so the perfect type of stream to start tight end.
That was a quick word. All right, thank you. We're going to take a break on Fantasy Football Today. News and notes. When we come back, we will update you on what one of the writers who covers the Chiefs said about Samaje Perine and Carson Steele. An update on Jamar Chase, Jalen Warren, Tyreek Hill. We'll be right back on Fantasy Football Today.
It's a Service Academy triple header on CBS Sports Network.
If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/fantasyfootball today, we just saw a college football promo, and I've got a college football tweet to read. One of the most disgusting things that we might ever see, but probably not. That's coming up in a bit. We're also going to do season awards, fantasy cops, and buy or sell here, and your emails at fantasyfootball@cbsi.com. Here are your news. We're on CBS Sports Network today, 1 p.m. Eastern. Every week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, we have a 1-hour show on CBS Sports Network. Okay, it'll be a little bit different than what you see here on the podcast or here on the podcast. It'll be a lot different, actually.
It's a fresh show every time.
Yeah, Tuesday's going to be waiver wire, so we'll do it differently, but still, watch it. Anyway, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, CBS Sports Network. Check it out. Okay, here are your news and notes. So Ricky Pearsall and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are on the NFI list. Pearsall and Clyde, they will miss at least 4 games. Pete Sweeney of Arrowhead Pride told 32 beat writers, at 32 beat writers, very good follow. All signs point to Samaje Perine being the 3rd down back. Yeah. And Sweeney also mentioned Carson Steele maybe getting goal line or short yardage carries.
Not the first time I've heard that, by the way.
Interesting. Okay. But what do we make of this? I mean, if we have a bunch of drafts today between us, should we be moving Pacheco down in our rankings?
It's not great for him. I mean, obviously, I still think he's in the round 2 conversation, but behind ETN, behind Jacobs, behind probably should be behind James Cook.
Rachaad White?
Not there yet.
Let me just is it more like there were 2 segments of the Chiefs season? There was the McKinnon segment where Pacheco was not a third down player, other than third and short maybe. And then there was the McKinnon's injured segment where Pacheco split the third down work, probably got like 40% of it, split it with Clyde. What do you think is more realistic here with Perine? Does Perine jump into the McKinnon role, or is he more in the Clyde role where he's sometimes the third down back?
I would think it's Perine's more in the McKinnon role. He's more adept to playing this role than Clyde was.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I said it when he signed. One of the Chiefs writers wrote this was the perfect offseason move for them.
Oh.
And I'm sure a lot of it has to do with what their goal is. Their goal is Super Bowl. They want to make sure Pacheco, who had a shoulder injury, is running at his best and playing at his best in the latter half of the season into the postseason. Like, they don't need him to kill himself now. So use Carson Steele at the goal line. Use Samaje Perine in passing down work. Sucks for us, but smart for them.
I would buy this dip all day.
I had a little chips and guac for the Canes game on Saturday.
Nice. Well done. Look, I think it's going to be like last year ended. You can't convince me that Samaje Perine's going to come fresh off a stint in Denver and suddenly be locked into every third down snap, and that an undrafted running back who is fun and looks good is suddenly going to be trusted with the ball at the goal line. I maybe eventually if Pacheco struggles, we see that happen, but I'm gonna predict that Pacheco and Perine split third downs. When they're in the red zone, we'll see more Pacheco than Perine, unless it's like 3rd and 9, something like that. I mean, there was talk this offseason about Pacheco being good and being more improved in those passing down situations. And then at the goal line, really, they're going to give it to Carson Steele? They might. Maybe that happens a few times, but to me, the threat for Pacheco from the goal line is more Mahomes than Steele. And if Steele becomes a thing, then yes, obviously that's very bad news Brown for Pacheco. But I'm still very much going after Pacheco in round 2.
In his last 8 games, including the playoffs, Pacheco was on pace for 304 carries and 66 catches. So I don't think we expect 66 catches.
I can't imagine that they want that.
No, but what about the 304 carries? You think
I can't imagine that they want that.
That either?
No.
Unless he's rolling. That they are going to want to keep him fresh. There was always going to be somebody else involved with him anyway.
All right.
Does one guy get every single touch? It's so rare.
We have big news. Trent Williams and the 49ers have agreed to a contract extension.
Well.
All right. Better late than never. But Jamar Chase, they have not committed to Jamar Chase playing this week against New England. So start T. Higgins if he doesn't play.
Oh, yeah. And then if you've got Jamar Chase and you're thin at wide receiver, desperate for somebody from Cincinnati, I think Andre Oshivas is the safest bet. Burton is the fun bet. But you might want to start planning on a plan B in case Chase doesn't play.
They are not going to have rookie offensive tackle Amarius Mims this week, the Bengals. They'll be starting Trent Brown against the Patriots. Oh, Trent Brown revenge game. Josh Downs, Colts second-year receiver. He's making, we don't talk about those revenge games enough. Josh Downs is making progress. His status for week 1 is unknown. Probably not expecting Josh Downs. Got the ankle sprain. He's facing the Texans this week. Jaylen Warren trending in the right direction. He expects to play at Atlanta. Russell Wilson was named a team captain. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are practicing. They will play against Jacksonville, we'd have to think. Tyler Lockett says he's feeling pretty good. We'll see about him against Denver this week. Tennessee linebacker Ernest Jones, who they just acquired from the Rams, he will play. They're at Chicago. Very interesting. All these games, so interesting to me. Rico Dowdle is the favorite to lead the Cowboys in carries, according to Todd Archer, a beat reporter for the Cowboys. I guess not a huge surprise there. But I don't know why. I'm not really looking forward to the Cowboys-Browns game. I feel like the Browns are super boring.
I mean, it's one of the lowest totals for the week.
Yeah.
So that should tell you something.
I'm also wondering about the Cowboys defense. I see them ranked very high, like on, you just Google like best defenses in the NFL. You get a lot of publications very high. Are you guys feeling that? Obviously, Deron Bland is out now. They lost some pieces to
lost Dan Quinn.
They lost Dan Quinn.
That might be the biggest one of all. Some of their depth among their pass rush is also impacted. I'm nervous about them.
I just got
to get 2 games against the Giants. Though.
No,
I just got a trade offer. Oh, this trade offer sucks. No, I offered RJ a pretty bad trade. He offered me it's not that bad. Malik Neighbors and Brian Robinson for Jalen Waddle and Tajay Spears. It's actually not a bad. It's a fine trade, but I'm not going to take it. Okay. Tweet of the day. So everyone's looking for this Seminoles fan who tweeted this after they lost to there he is. Who they lose to week 1, Georgia Tech. He wrote, if Florida State loses to BC this weekend, I will eat dog poo out of a red Solo cup with a spoon and post a video of me doing it. Book it. So oh, did he delete it? Oh, he deleted the tweet. Well,
he deleted his account.
Oh, he deleted his account.
There's people who have screen grabbed it. I've seen it.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Adam just showed us.
Yeah, well, Schaefer showed it, but
with the curse word.
Tom Fornelli, one of our writers, college football writers, he's like, I feel bad for this guy. That was the first time I saw it.
I saw a great dad joke about this. What happened to Florida State after they came back from Ireland?
What?
Their losses be Dublin.
Oh man, I was actually not really rooting against it. This is a bad look for the ACC. This is a bad look, but so what happens when you sue the conference. All right, let's do some season awards. Let's get some picks here. MVP, Rookie of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year. That's an easy one. Defensive Player of the Year, Best Free Agent Acquisition, and the biggest bust. Who is your MVP? I'll go for
this.
I have answers. You guys can think about it.
Is this like if we were betting it, or we're just throwing out a name that we think?
We're not betting. We're just throw out a name here. I'm going to say Lamar Jackson. I think he'll win his third, and he has the best weapons he's had around him.
This is the NFL MVP, not fantasy MVP.
I was doing NFL. Should we do? We can do fantasy?
Yeah, on a fantasy show. Got it. Okay.
You do both. We'll do both. We'll do both. Fantasy MVP will be next. I'll say Lamar Jackson. Best weapons around him. I think he's really improved as a passer. He's going to put it all together this year and finally have that breakout season we've been waiting for with his third MVP.
I'll say Josh Allen, that he's going to have his best season with the least amount of weapons going into the season around him.
Wow. That's pretty bold.
I'll say Jalen Hurts finishes the year stronger than last year and helps Philadelphia to have the best record in the NFC.
By the way, now's the time to tell you. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code FANTASY. You're going to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's what you do. Download the BetMGM app, sign up using bonus code FANTASY, deposit at least $10, and place your first wager on any game. You're going to receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code FANTASY, all right? It's fantasy when you sign up on BetMGM. All right, so we've got quarterback MVPs. How about the fantasy MVP?
Yeah. Don't we usually qualify the fantasy MVP as like the guy we took late and then ended up like Kyron Williams was a fantasy MVP?
Yeah, but it could also be a first round pick who you took 10th overall, Garrett Wilson, and he's wide receiver 1 and he averages 22 points per game or something like that. It could be that.
Anthony Richardson will be the fantasy MVP.
I think more likely he's the biggest bust. Oh!
Wow.
Actually, no, I'm going to change my answer. Kyler Murray is going to be the fantasy MVP.
All right, good, because I don't want to go down that Anthony Richardson road again. Forget I said that. Scratch that. Kyler Murray or Jamie?
I'm going to go with Malik Neighbors. It's fantasy MVP. ADP was around round 5, right? Isn't that where it's sitting right now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm-
they'll pay off on that.
I wasn't prepared for this one, so I'm gonna just go with the guy that I keep drafting, George Pickens. George Pickens.
I'm nervous about him for week 1.
Oh, he'll be fine. Why are you nervous?
Just because I'm nervous about the state of the offensive line and the quarterback who's playing behind that offensive line against a
We're acting
defense
like
in
they're,
Atlanta that
we're acting like
rapidly
they're
improved.
worse. We're acting like they're worse than they were last year. They had Kenny Pickett last year and other garbage. And then when he didn't play, when Deontay Johnson wasn't on the field, he was a beast.
Yeah, that did happen last year.
Yeah.
A couple of
Dave.
games.
All right, rookie of the year.
Look, I'm not saying you should sit George Pickens, but maybe flex expectations. Rookie of the year,
Yeah.
Neighbors.
I'll go with Brian Thomas Jr.
This is the fantasy rookie of the year? Or
Yes.
the rookie of the rookie of the year is Caleb Williams. Let's not overthink this here. Come on.
I don't know.
I'll take Jane Daniels.
Yeah, that might be the guy.
Okay, this one's easy. Comeback player of the year.
Burrow.
I guess it wasn't so easy. That's a good guess too.
That's a great guess.
Aaron Rodgers.
Nah.
Okay. Defensive player of the year.
Who was last year? Myles Garrett.
Sure.
Myles Garrett was the defensive player of the year last year.
Let's go with Micah Parsons.
Daniil Hunter.
Oh, all right, going to the Texans. And I'm going to say Will Anderson.
Also on the Texans.
Yeah, they're going to have, that's going to be, they have the top 2 finishers in defensive player of the year. Their defense is going to be so good.
I agree.
Best free agent acquisition.
So are you talking about players that change teams this offseason?
Yeah. From a fantasy standpoint.
Yeah, sure.
Now we're doing fantasy.
Yeah.
Welcome back to fantasy football.
Best free agent acquisition.
I mean, Saquon is the first name that comes to mind.
How about Cousins?
Oh,
It's a good one.
I feel dirty.
Helps out an entire team and several fantasy options.
Derrick Henry could be a good option.
Could be Jacobs.
Could be.
No, you got to pick one. I'm gonna go with Cousins.
I'll take the easy one with Saquon.
Let's go with.
Just say who you want to say. Keenan Allen.
It's too much of Keenan Allen.
He's not fat. Just big boned.
Yeah, I'll go Saquon again.
All right, biggest bust. Fantasy.
Travis Kelce.
Oh, I hate this. Because you're inclined to pick somebody who's going like super early.
Well, yeah.
I'll let you have Derrick Henry. Adam.
Thank you.
I'm
Appreciate
not
it.
gonna, you can take Derrick Henry. I will take Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Josh Hines Allen of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah. By the way, did you feel like, okay, which defenses do you think are a lot different than they were last year? Considerably better or considerably worse?
Dolphins considerably worse.
That's a good one. I think the Texans got better. We already talked about their pass rush improvements.
And I'm saying this because I'm
feel
doing
like this is a longer conversation, though. This is something that we should probably have done like a month ago.
I'm doing my week 1 research, and the NFL draft was super offense heavy, right? At the very top, and free agency. You mentioned Daniil Hunter, but there weren't a lot of big names in free agency on the defensive side that changed teams. L'Jarius Sneed going to the Titans is a huge deal. In fact, the Titans could be a defense that's a lot better if Ernest Jones makes a big impact for them. But Brian Burns going to the Giants, I mean, that was one of the biggest ones. That was a trade, but they still are probably not going to be a very good defense. So
Judon to the Falcons.
Who's
Justin
that?
Simmons to the Falcons.
Patriots got worse.
Patriots
Christian
got worse.
Wilkins
I could go down the list and tell
Rams
you.
got worse.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know that there are that many defenses that are so much different than they were last year. I think CJ Gardner-Johnson of the Eagles is hopefully going to help them. But
I think Seattle got a ton better.
McKinney to the Packers.
Not only because of
Packers,
their pick Murphy, but also Mike McDonald going there to coach that team. I think their defense is going to be a problem. And
Yep.
they have a great schedule to start the year.
Yep. First 2 games are awesome.
Awesome. I wonder if the Ravens got a little worse because they lost McDonald.
And Geno Stone and Patrick Queen.
Yeah. Queen went to the Steelers. Talking about the rich getting richer.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's just a thought. It was more of a
Eagles better.
Buffalo take a hit because not only did they lose both their starting safeties, but Milano's out.
Oh, Buffalo. Yeah.
I mean, their pass rush is their D line is going to be amazing. And the reports on Von Miller this offseason, I couldn't believe it. But I wonder if they just don't have enough behind them. I think Atlanta is going to give them a game on Sunday.
So
I mean, Arizona. I said
yeah,
Atlanta. That was wrong.
yeah. What was I going to say?
Eagles got better.
Eagles. Yeah, the Eagles. Did they get better? I mean,
Yeah, it's just with Fangio alone.
I hope that's the case.
they
I
were one
wonder
of the
if
worst
people
defenses
start
in
to figure out
football.
Fangio a little.
It's hard for them to be any worse, but they're going to be relying on 2 rookie cornerback or 2 rookie defensive backs to a degree. They just got a whole bunch of young guys that are going to have better seasons.
Mm-hmm.
All the Georgia guys.
Minnesota's pass rush. They lost Hunter, but they added to it. They're going to be aggressive and they're going to be fun. We'd already talked about Atlanta.
Washington should be better, right?
We just with the coaching. Yep.
Yeah, definitely Washington. Although I'm very worried about their secondary. They could be just as rough as they were last year. The Bears are a year wiser. They finished last year strong with Montez Sweat. I could see their defense being a lot better.
Okay.
I'm a little nervous about the Saints. The Raiders' run defense is going to be very interesting to watch now that they've got Wilkins.
Yeah. Which
But
is a
they're
big
second.
hit for the Dolphins' run defense.
Dolphins could be awful,
Dolphins could
especially early in the
legit-
season.
right.
At the same time, they have Jalen Ramsey and Javon Holland. They have 2 really good defensive backs.
Ramsey got beat a few times in
Yeah, but
practice.
they made no pass rush.
No, so Chop Robinson was actually very good as a pass rusher. As a
Yeah, I
run
mean, by the
defender.
end of the season, when everybody's healthy, they may be good. But right now, it's going to be a little bit. tough.
Yeah. And Jalen Phillips has been working out. I think they think he's going to play week 1, but I don't know how good he'll be compared to last year.
Yeah.
Early on.
Coming off a torn Achilles.
Rams lost Aaron Donald. That might be a big deal.
Just a little.
Hey, Jamie, where do you come out on the Jaguars defense?
In terms of improving,
Yeah.
I think they got better.
They got Armstead on the D line.
They have Eric Armstead on the D line with an A. That's a big deal. I mean, that's a big deal for them. But I don't think they have a great defense.
No, middle of the pack.
Yeah.
I think the 3 defenses right away, like right off the bat, that you should target are Carolina, Arizona, New England. 3 teams with not much in the pass rush department.
New England, though, I mean, they were so beat up last year and they still managed to have a good defense. They did lose a pretty significant
Good run defense, but
number
they
of
don't have
completions.
far more to start the
Well, they're
year.
getting the cornerback too. What's his name?
Christian Gonzalez. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was off to a great
You
start.
got him back, and that's good. But who's rushing the quarterback?
No, you're right.
Are you? I don't know. Is that rhetorical? Okay. Are you guys ready for the fantasy cops?
Yes.
Well, I'm not. We got to take a break. We'll be right back with the fantasy cops on FFT. All right, here we go with the fantasy cops. You got a league dispute? Send your emails to fantasyfootball@cbsi.com and put fantasy cops in the subject line. This one is called an easy fantasy cops that I put in the show just to bring shame upon a bad fantasy manager and a bad friend. It is from Logan. My friends and I recently did our League of Record draft. During the draft, for the record, I understand I made the mistake here, but during the draft, I was at the 12 spot. So at the 5-6 turn, I first selected Calvin Ridley. And then I went to immediately select Rashee Rice, who was directly ranked under Ridley in ADP. Rice's name slid up 1 spot in the draft room when I drafted Ridley. So when I went to click Rice's name, I selected Jordan Addison, who was directly after Rashee Rice in ADP. And since Ridley was selected, they both moved up the draft board. I immediately said I made a mistake and wanted to pause the draft to try to fix it. And a couple of the league members were fine with it, but the loudest league member league members, my friend and his wife, were up in arms at the idea of this and said that I have to live with the mistake. I now have Jordan Addison instead of Rashee Rice, and I'm extremely sad about it. I completely understand that I made the error on my end, and at this point, I cannot change it, but I just want to know your opinions. Everyone in the league has been good friends for 10 plus years, and I just want to know if this had happened in your league and one of your friends immediately said they made a mistake and wanted to change it. Would you have helped your friend and let him change the pick?
Of course.
Of course.
It's fantasy football. It's meant to be fun. This isn't life or death.
If you said that like 5 picks later and go, oh my God, I clicked the wrong name.
Right.
Like that's different. If you said it immediately,
right?
Like, come on.
Yeah, it's bad. Okay.
Your players? That's the takeaway for everybody?
Is what?
Is the takeaway to just be really careful clicking the player's name in your app? What's the takeaway there other than be a nice commish?
Have better friends. No, yeah, that's the other thing. Like the commissioner should have stepped up here and been like, shut up, friend and wife. Like you are wrong. Yeah. We're redoing this pick.
Jamie did that for me in one of our pick by picks that we did this.
I do it all the time. I mean, it's like you said, Dave, it's this isn't supposed to be something that's painful. Right. It's supposed to be something that everybody enjoys. And if somebody immediately says, I made a mistake, like why would you not let them fix that?
Yeah.
Because you're mean. That's why.
Very mean. This is a more normal fantasy comps. And it comes from a Cowboys fan living life like the 90s. I'm the commissioner of a 12-team Superflex Dynasty League. This past offseason, we implemented a rule change that only allows managers to have 3 quarterbacks on their team at once. We implemented this rule so that managers would not harbor 5 to 6 quarterbacks on their team. However, a manager found a loophole during our fantasy draft and drafted J.J. McCarthy and put him on his IR because he's not an active player. So now he has 4 quarterbacks, with one of them being on IR. I am a man of the people, so of course I put it to a vote amongst the others. But my question is, what would you all do? Let him keep his 4th quarterback on IR or force him to drop him? I vote keep him.
I agree.
Same.
Yeah,
because let's be honest. This is a keeper league. Obviously, you wouldn't do this otherwise.
It's dynasty.
Allen and he got hurt, you'd put him on your IR.
Yeah.
And then if you picked up Matthew Stafford, who insert name here off the waiver wire, and he got hurt, you might put him on your IR too. You're going to have to keep cutting these guys. I think IR should not count toward the 3.
Agree.
Now, what if you have guys who are just hurt and are not on IR?
You got to play by the rules in that case.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for your Fantasy Cops questions. This is Buy or Sell. We have more of this coming on CBS Sports Network a little bit later. Buy or Sell.
Do you have music for Buy or Sell, Adam?
Yeah, sure.
Just don't be the Pitman music.
Buy or Sell. Okay, this is the Hurricanes fight song. Bijan Robinson's workload will be cut into by Tyler Algier by a significant enough proportion that makes Bijan not live up to his ADP.
So,
big time sell.
Okay, from TD Pat, buy or sell. Dylan Lobby is the best. I think it's Lobby.
Yeah, it's Lobby.
As the best week 1 waiver wire pickup.
Sell, but if Zamir White gets hurt, then he'll be in the conversation.
I think he'll be at best a 3rd down back for the Raiders all year.
From Brian Schlatter, buy or sell. Nico Collins will be a top 12 wide receiver.
He already is, so buy.
He's not for me, so sell.
Dave D says, buy or sell. Travis Etienne will have more touches than Saquon Barkley and Jahmyr Gibbs. Combined. No, not combined.
I would buy it over Gibbs. I would sell it over Barkley.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Steve Denton, buy or sell. Greg Dulcich will be a top 8 tight end in week 1.
Against Seattle, I'll sell.
After week 1?
No, in week 1.
Like coming out of week 1, he'll be a top 8 tight end.
He'll have finished top 8 in week 1.
Yeah, I'll sell.
Greg Dulcich, yeah.
But I do like him as a sleeper.
Quentin Brown.
Hold on. Dulcich or Juwan Johnson?
Oh, Johnson.
Yeah.
Can I go now, Dave?
Only if you have music to accompany. No, I'm just kidding.
Can I finish? Can I finish? Okay, finish. Buy or sell.
That's your one time for the show.
Kellen Moore's offense will throw to the Eagles running backs like he has in Los Angeles and Dallas.
Bye.
No way.
Okay.
I mean, well, proportionally maybe, but Jalen Hurts just isn't going to throw as much. Like, Barkley's not going to be Austin Eckler. Oh, well, he wasn't there with Eckler. Barkley's
Austin Eckler wasn't Austin Eckler with Kellen Moore.
Right.
That's true, right? But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Let's rephrase it. Buy or sell Saquon Barkley over 40 catches.
Buy.
Buy.
Yep.
I might buy over 50 catches.
Right around.
Like
I don't
52.
know.
It's been a long time since he's had 50 catches.
I know. It's, he's got to stay healthy.
What if they just throw more than they ever have? What if
I think they might.
All right, man versus life. Buy or sell after week 1. We'll be laughing at all the people who passed on Achane when he puts up 85 rushing and 65 receiving yards and a touchdown against the Jaguars.
That would be me that you're laughing at. Yeah, of course, if he does that, you'll be laughing at everybody.
It's one game though, so
you're going to hear that from us a lot after week 1. It's one game. We'll see if he can keep it up.
But if they give him more work than Mostert, that's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fair point. Unless it's a blowout. Could you imagine if it's a blowout and they give him a ton of work and then we're right back where we were right now?
Yeah, but you say that though. If it happens only in the fourth quarter, then yes. If it happens throughout the course of the game, I don't care.
That's fair. I can't wait to see it. I want to know how he does.
I don't know how you guys feel about diversifying your portfolio. I've been trying to do that a little bit more this year, for example.
Portfolio.
Yeah, I can diversify your portfolio. You really want to have a different variety of options here. But I had like the second or the third pick in 3 different drafts, all within 2 days. And one league I took Breece Hall, one league I took Tyreek Hill, one league I took CeeDee Lamb. Actually, Lamb was like the 8th pick. It was our super flex league. But I was deciding between those 3. But Achane is a guy, speaking of diversifying the portfolio, that I don't have a single share of, and I hate it. But I can't justify drafting him where he's been going. But it does bother me that I don't have any. I still have 3 more chances.
Yeah, you should. I mean, look, as we talked about with Jacob, if he hits, he's going to be one of the best running backs in fantasy.
Right, but of all the guys being drafted in his range, I mean, I just feel like he has the fewest touches. The possibility for by far the fewest touches.
Well, not now with Pacheco. I mean, they're probably the same.
The same amount of touches.
I'm kidding.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I think he's got the most headwind. Let's put it that way. You got Mostert there. McDaniel loves to use multiple backs. This is a team that Tyreek Hill usually gets a lot of touches on. We're in from game to game.
Yeah.
There's a lot that works against him. It's almost like Zay Flowers. The talent is undeniable. He's really, really good. But it's just a matter of how much work, how often can he play through all the little bumps and bruises that he gets? Does he incur something more serious? There's a lot of things in place, but where Jamie's coming from and where Jacob is coming from is he's got that sky high upside. And okay, if he misses a few games, you deal with it as a fantasy manager. You start somebody else.
I'm not worried about him missing a few games. That's whatever.
No, you're worried about him not being effective in half the games that he does play.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not getting enough touches.
He's awesome in best ball. Jamie, I don't know how many best
he goes
ball
too soon.
You did. How many of them do you have Achane in?
None. He goes way too soon for me.
Okay. All right. But like that's an example of where I'd love to have him because when he goes off, he goes off. That's
but I'll go back again to what Jacob said. I want him in both. Like you want that type of player on your team.
I don't see you drafting him typically.
I don't have the opportunities to. That's the problem.
What I'm saying. That's that I do like him. Like I don't know. Okay, so what point in the draft are you ready to draft Devon Achane?
The 1-2 turn. The 2-3 turn, excuse me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got him later than that.
Okay. Buy or sell from Tyler. Jordan Love is a top 3 quarterback.
Ooh. Sell.
Buy or sell. I am super embarrassed to leave the house because of this stupid line in my head.
Oh my God, stop.
Wait, let me see it. Put it up. Put your head in front of the camera.
Let
me see the other side of your head. Oh, don't be embarrassed. No one would notice.
That's not true. I had one
You
friend
should
over.
have just
and
did
he
a
had-
line in the other side of your head just when you got your haircut.
to
Oh
even
my
it out.
gosh. No. All right, let's read some emails at fantasyfootball@cbsi.com. This is from MJR.
Kelly
Hey,
would have evened it out for you.
Mr. Quaid, Mr. Tasker, Mr. Kimball, and Mr. Freeze. Okay, these are Arnold's.
Yes.
Who are Quaid and Tasker?
Quaid is Total Recall.
Yep.
Okay. I
Kimball
don't know.
Tasker
Kindergarten Cop?
is
N-
True Lies.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Kimball is Kindergarten Cop.
Yep.
It's bad that I didn't know the names in Total Recall. I knew Kindergarten Cop and that stupid Batman movie, but not Total Recall and
Mr. Freeze.
I know the movies. I went Hero RB with Josh
Why did
Jacobs.
that make me laugh?
It was good.
Of all the things.
I'm a little light in that position. At the back end of my bench, I was able to draft Jordan Mason and Marshawn Lloyd. Which backup running back has more upside, Mason or Lloyd? If a stud waiver wire pickup emerges, should I consider dropping one of them or just wait out for the upside later in the season?
Well, because you
Mason
have
obviously has more
Jacobs.
upside.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jamie. Go ahead.
No, Mason has more upside. I mean, if either one of these guys get the starting job, you'd rather have the San Francisco guy than the Green Bay guy.
But if you've got Jacobs and then you've got Lloyd with him, you have that backfield on lock.
I would much rather have Jacobs and Mason or McCaffrey and Lloyd.
But here's my counter to that. If Jacobs gets hurt, given the state of the backfield for the Packers, if Jacobs and McCaffrey get hurt, who has a bigger role? Who do you rank higher, Marshawn Lloyd or Jordan Mason?
Mason.
I would rank Mason higher, but they would both get a ton of work and have the potential to be quite good. But Mason would be the one that I'd rather have.
Okay.
And listen, just because you cut Lloyd doesn't mean you can't ever get him back. I don't know how easy it'll be to get him back.
Schaefer telling me I should tell random people that the line in my head is a scar from a childhood accident, so they feel bad when they ask me about it. They wouldn't ask me about it. They would just talk about it behind my back. Anyway, I have a sound bite from a listener from like 3 years ago. It was him doing an Arnold impression, and it's still on my mixer. I don't remember what it says. I remember it being pretty good. Should I play it?
Of course.
All right, let's hear it.
I like you, Cindy. I'm going to be hanging around you a lot. Days, nights, weekends, holidays. I'm going to hang out with you until the end of time.
That's right. It's a pretty good impression. That's his Kindergarten Cop. All right, this is from CC, from a city north of Arlington.
Oklahoma City.
Hey, Jason, Tommy, Zach, and Billy. Oh, that feels so obvious to me. Jason, Tommy.
I think it's Power Rangers.
Oh, okay. Good. I'm glad I didn't get that. After moving Jonathan Brooks to IR, I have an open bench spot. Is it better to wait to make a move so I can keep my number 2 waiver priority to use after week 1, or grab a handcuff running back like Corum or Marshawn Lloyd right now?
I mean, if Corum's out there, I would definitely use it to get him.
Agreed.
Okay. 14-team PPR league. Would you accept this trade, or would you rather hold on to Amon-Ra St. Brown? So his running backs are Ken Walker, Josh Jacobs, Chuba Hubbard, and Jordan Mason in a 14-team PPR league. I was offered Marvin Harrison and David Montgomery for Amon-Ra St. Brown. So he'd get an RB3 behind Walker and Jacobs, but he'd be downgrading. So he'd give up St. Brown. He'd get Marvin Harrison and David Montgomery, PPR.
Not enough for me.
I think it's enough for me.
Yeah, I don't think we'd consider this in a 12-team league, right? But in a 14-team league,
I might. I mean, the step down from Amon-Ra to Marvin Harrison
could be enormous. I mean, it might not be that big, but it could be enormous. You got to at least. I guess it's possible that Harrison's better than St. Brown. You know, he could have that special year, but.
And you're getting David Montgomery with it.
Also possible he's not even close.
Harrison and Montgomery combined should be better than St. Brown and an average running back.
I said no, but I said it was close when I emailed this guy back. Jamie says yes. Dave says
no. I say no.
He says no. Dave says yes. So it's close. This is from No Name or City, Dave. Oh, no, never mind. Never mind. This is from Ernie from a city on the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Biloxi.
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 I can't trust you on Dylan Lobby now. Dear Eggsy.
I'll ask him how to pronounce it if that'll make you feel better.
Dear Eggsy, Merlin, Harry, and Tequila. The Kingsman. I don't know the Kingsman. I had the first pick in my 10-team non-PPR family draft. I took McCaffrey. My dad is the biggest 49ers fan I know. He has sent me 2 very compelling trade offers. Should I trade Christian McCaffrey for the following? So he would give up McCaffrey, Mason, and Brock Bowers. He would get back Tyreek Hill, Raheem Mostert, and Dalton Kincaid.
Ooh.
Or he would give up McCaffrey, Mason, and Bowers for Barkley, Ayuk, and Kincaid.
There it is.
Oh, it's non-PPR, so keep that in mind. So you'd rather have Barkley, Ayuk, and Kincaid over Tyreek, Mostert, and Kincaid?
I'd rather have Tyreek, Mostert, and Kincaid.
Same. Especially in non-PPR, right? Because Mostert's pretty good there.
Yep.
Dave?
Plus the first round value is still relatively close.
Between Tyreek and McCaffrey?
Yep.
That's fine. If it were PPR, I'd rather have the Tyreek side.
Okay. And finally from Grant. Where's he from?
Grant is from Wheeling, West Virginia.
Dear Wanda, Fire Marshal Bill, and Homie the Clown.
Great show.
You can do what you want.
In living color. I feel like the definitive answer to whether it's pronounced GIF or GIF comes down to what the G in the acronym stands for. It stands for graphics, which is pronounced with a hard G sound. You don't pronounce graphics like it's spelled with a J. Hence, GIF and not GIF. Boom, mic drop.
GIF is for peanut butter. GIF is for the internet.
Yeah, the only problem I have with this is scuba, because I don't really. I agree with you that it's GIF, Grant, but I don't agree with the argument because scuba, the U is for underwater, and we're not going to say scuba. This is the big issue I had with BABIP versus BABIP, and eventually I had to give up BABIP when I was doing fantasy baseball because I felt like everyone thought I was an idiot. But I was very stubborn about this. I really think it should be BABIP and not BABIP. If it had 2 B's, I would pronounce it BABIP. But I actually think you pronounce the acronym the way the acronym is spelled, as if the acronym is a word, not based on the pronunciation of the words within the acronym. So I think BABIP is, I think even though the A stands for average, I think it should be BABIP, not BABIP. I think the BABIP people are wrong. They've been wrong for a long time. But it is GIF because...
So GIF, not GILF?
All right.
I got that wrong the other day?
You got that wrong. Yeah. Graphic interface. Oh, graphic. I can't even think of an acronym. That's not okay. Okay, we're out of here. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Start previewing some games, give some NFL predictions, and more on Fantasy Football Today.
NFL predictions.
NFL predictions. Actually, we're predicting all the division winners and such. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow on Fantasy Football Today.